Thank you very much, Chucks. I'm very excited for what is the final series before we head over to Sweden, to Malmö, which is worse Denmark, I hear. That's kind of what I've been told to say. Yeah. This is Guldborg and Vedius next to me. I'm looking forward to what is likely to be a 5-game thriller today.
Yeah, this will be our last game in the studio for the split. So I'm hoping for I'm hoping for a banger. We've had some pretty incredible games throughout playoffs so far. We've had some 3-0s this week, though, which goes against what we've been seeing across the world. Let's see if Mad Lions have been able to clean up some of the play. Of course, they were very close to taking down Rogue last week. We went the full distance. We went the full 5 games. And Mad came very, very close to being able to secure a spot in Malmö. But that's what these two teams are fighting for today. That final spot in Malmö. A potential opportunity to fight G2 in the finals. We're getting ready for our first draft of the day. So without further ado, let's play the music.
And of course, not just the final spot in Malmö on the line, but a possibility of going straight to groups at Worlds. If you manage to win this series, then win the next one up against Rogue, you are into the group stage alongside G2 as one of your representatives. But that is still far away on the horizon. Today, we have a best of 5 to see who makes it to the LEC Finals weekend. Mad Lions going to remove Azir on the blue side here. We have seen that priority jump a huge amount over the last couple of days, and Draven taken away by Fnatic.
Yeah, what's curious about that is the fact that Nisqy haven't actually played that Azir yet, so you've seen Mad Lions, even before the Azir was banned on blue side, be banned away from their side. Another thing is these AD carries coming out, and actually it's just Fnatic who straight up banning not only the Draven, but the Kalista too, which I think is very interesting. Upset, of course, has shown a lot more priority on the champions like the Seri, like the Twitch, or even Sivir, while on the side of Unforgiven, he's been willing to push out the Lucian, the Dravens, and the Kalistas.
Okay, so everything is gone. Sivir, Zeri, Draven,
Lucian.
Kalista. The question is, will we see the Lucian removed? Because I think that Fnatic can take the gamble and say, you know what, Mad Lions, we don't think that you will first pick it. Of course, it's a dangerous gamble because when you look at Unforgiven so far in playoffs, 3 Lucian games, 2 Kalista games. So you feel that if you do leave that AD carry open, he is very likely to grab it for himself. And let's see if he doesn't. The Talia will be removed, taken away from Nisqy, one of his go-to throughout the regular season and during playoffs. But it's going to be the Poppy, which means that Elyoya, making sure that he has that early game agency, wouldn't be surprised to see the Lucian and the Trundle immediately responded by Fnatic.
Yeah, that should also mean that Mad Lions have a respond to that exact rotation, because I do believe you're right. I think going for the Trundle and the Lucian here would be absolutely excellent. Yuumi still available as well. The main problem for that is that a lot of her facilitating AD carries have kind of been removed, right? Seri no longer there, Sivir no longer there, and because of that, the Lucian Nami should just rise in priority.
Of course, Fnatic, they have a lot of freedom here. They don't necessarily need to lock in either the Nami or the Trundle now if they don't want to. If there is a priority mid laner that they want to get their hands on, that is a solid option for them as well. But you have to make sure that you do get one or the other, and it looks like Trundle will be the direction that they're going. So nothing too surprising coming out from the draft. The big question is, what do Mad do now? Will they look to lock in a strong top side? No, they're going to go straight for the Nilah.
Okay.
Wow, okay, so they have been doing some prep. I feel like that there were some scrims versus XL.
I mean, Fnatic have some experience playing against it as well, of course.
That's very true.
Fell foul to Patrick's Nilah in the first series last week against XL.
And this was the exact lane they played with against the two, right? They had the Lucian Nami into the Nilah, and of course in laning phase that's going to look pretty good for Upset and Hylissang, but when you move towards that late game, that's where you really want to see the powers come through from Unforgiven. Usually Trundle is one of these annoying junglers to have to play against as an AD carry. When you're immobile, Nilah of course can dash to her own allied champions or minions, of course. I think she'll be having a safe time down there at least.
The important thing to recognize right now is that Mad Lions won't be able to get that push early on in the bot lane 2 versus 2. So let's see if they can get it elsewhere. The question is, what direction will Fnatic go in terms of their top side? I was going to mention Ornn, but that's immediately banned away from the side of Mad Lions, rather. So things like Gwen are going to lower down in priority. Sejuani, of course, still up and available. Neither team has decided to lock it in. Other teams have chosen to put a high priority on that champion, but both these sides wanted to lock in their jungle and bot side of the map.
I mean, neither of them have played the Sejuani so far during playoffs either, so it would be something new for them to bring out. There's the Aatrox banned away by Fnatic.
Does suggest a Renekton blind from the side of Fnatic. That is something that we saw a lot yesterday when G2 played in their series against Rogue, choosing to blind the Renekton. You can typically use Aatrox as an answer while it can struggle in the early laning phase. But now how will Mad Lions? They're going to remove Humanoid's LeBlanc. Does make a lot of sense when you have a strong pushing mid laner paired up with the Trundle. Makes it very easy to play to the bot side of the map. Mad Lions want to try and mitigate that early prio from Fnatic.
And while it quite often could make more sense to save that counter pick for the mid lane instead, I feel like, as you said there, I don't actually know if I agree with the Renekton blind pick coming through. It creates a very melee composition coming through. It'll give you a lane to play for through in the top side, but nonetheless, it's coming out for Fnatic. I feel like a champion like Ahri in the mid lane is still something that'll be really good skirmishing with, specifically when you have such a short range composition.
Okay.
But no, Mad Lion screaming XL, you're talking something about there.
Let's go. Nocturne mid lane alongside the Kennen. Kennen Nocturne is something we saw from LNG earlier in the day. It's been popularized over in the LPL. Here in Europe, we have kind of taken some inspiration from them and looked to emulate it ourselves. Let's see if the Mad Lions can make it work. One of the problems with XL's comp when running it is Nocturne will fall off the later into the game.
You literally just called them XL, man.
The problem with Mad Lions... No, hang on.
It is the comp XL, man,
The
as well.
problem with XL's comp was that they fell off later into the game. The difference with this one is that they're running Nilah plus Yuumi in the bot side of the map.
Okay.
Mommy and Daddy are fighting, please. I don't want to be in the middle between this.
It's just, you get so excited when Nocturne mid comes out. Sometimes you have to watch him, you know? It's a little bit over the top, but
well, I was here the last time.
Final pick for Fnatic Final pick for Fnatic is that Viktor being locked in the mid lane. You talked a little bit about the short range of the Fnatic comp, but if you look on the other side, Mad Lions very short range as well, so it's not like we're going to have one of those traditional range wars that we saw a little bit yesterday.
No, but what is really easy for Mad Lions to do when you have that Nocturne, I'm sure Vedi will get into it more as we get into that game, is the fact when he activates that Paranoia, if you have a short range composition, that's difficult to play in. When you have a Kennen that can come for the flank and no longer the enemy team can keep track of them because of that Paranoia, that's going to be hard to be hard to deal with. So I think for this Nocturne, there's a lot of ways that it's going to be succeeding in this game.
That's all on the line for Mad Lions and Fnatic here. Fnatic felt the sting of Nilah earlier in playoffs last week here. Mad Lions trying to hit them with that same poison once again. The expectation is that these two teams will be very closely matched. Obviously, we've only seen 5 games from Mad Lions so far. Fnatic have had a little bit more time to settle into playoffs, and they've definitely done that. Let's see if they can continue their form today as they take on Mad Lions. Let's get down and dirty with it. Mad Lions versus Fnatic. Expect a bloodbath. Expect action across the rift. Humanoid already picked up a Void Staff. That's the quickest one I've ever seen. Absolutely smurfing.
Coming out of base with a Void Staff. That's a good pickup. Choosing not to run the teleport. One thing you've got to remember is that using teleport when the Paranoia is down is a lot harder. It's one of those things, I'm always the Nocturne player, so I don't know if people can TP or not, so I'm never confident enough to say it. I'm just like, it's hard.
You can't see the wards, so you can't TP.
But like, for example, like Shen ult, I'm pretty sure doesn't work when Nocturne ultimate is activated. So I've always wondered if TP was the same, but because I always play the Nocturne, I never know.
I feel like it is the same, as in you can't TP to something you can't see because you can't see the wards, but we will hedge our bets so that we get both the tweets from I can't believe they don't know this and I can't believe they're wrong.
One on each side, I like it, keeping it simple.
Early ward coming down from the Mad Lions. Nothing too surprising. Nisqy going to use the Q to get a bit of extra movement speed, and Razork just going to be annoying. Trundle, really good matchup into Nocturne, for those that don't know. Mainly because Trundle very good into melee bruiser, really. And Nocturne does fit into that wheelhouse. He will be running the door and shield. Often, early iterations of Nocturne would see the corrupting pot so that you'd have enough sustain to be able to fast push waves. But due to the nerf to his passive, even though it did get a little bit of a buff back, his wave clear is just much weaker compared to what it used to be. So deciding to go for a little bit more defensive rather than wanting to perma, just push, spam, and push the wave and then look for roams.
Yeah, I feel like it's level 6 where he really starts coming through with that roam as well. And I feel like going down towards the bot lane and top side, there's avenue in both of them if you want to. Down towards the bot lane as well. Of course, once again, the Lucian Nami into Nilah should be the team getting priority. Not only just get priority, you should be harassing the opponents just a little bit due to the fact that Nilah's range, it's very short. She needs to activate a Q really to get that extra range as well, of course, coming through, and that just makes the first wave really difficult to play on. So I feel like when you're playing against the Nilah, that first wave you're playing on, that's really where you have to get aggressive. But when you're playing against the Yuumi, even if you win the trades, unfortunately the cat will just heal it up.
Yeah, especially with Nilah's passive as well. Any healing that she receives, she gets an extra 7.5% bonus on top of that, which is why Nilah can be so difficult to deal with later on in the game, unless you like stack grievous wounds on her or you CC her long enough to burst her before she can get those healing windows down. For the moment, though, we see Mad pushing in the top lane, mid lane Prio, and bot lane Prio going over to Fnatic. Neither jungler making a foray into the enemy side, but you can actually see Elyoya only done 3 camps thus far. He's going to back, then go up towards his top side, and Razork is having a cheeky peek to see if he can spot anything.
So I think the reason why Elyoya is down here, because for a lot of the games, if you have a lane that has Prio, like the Lucian or like the Kalista, where you can stack up a wave and look for a dive, Elyoya trying to be there preemptively. Now knowing that he was not on the bot side, Armut should get an indicator he's top, and well, he knows now.
Flash away by Armut, wrong side of the pillar there. Razork's looking for the chase, flash forward, has that lethal tempo as well with the red buff sticking in. Ruthless Predator enough, and Wunder culls the Meek in the top lane.
Yeah, and it's just like that. Great pathing there from Razork, just saying, you know what, I'm going to start top, I'm going to take my bot, and I'm going to be up in the top lane again. So Armut expected he would have the time to crash that wave, back up, and farm safely. Unfortunately, that was not the case, and now with top lane priority, how much can Razork get out of this? Mid lane is backing as well as Nisqy. He does not have any mana. But with no smite available, Razork's just going to back off here.
And Razork has really put on a wonder class for Fnatic since week 8. He really became the carry of this team's early game. You can see 80% kill participation at the 14-minute mark. Huge gold leads as well through the jungle. And even in the games they lose, often he gets them off to an early start.
I mean, I was so excited for this jungle matchup coming into the day. Like, coming into playoffs, I wouldn't believe that, you know, Razork would step up to this level where I felt like against Elyoya, this might be some of the 2 best junglers that we have as well, at least from what we've seen in playoffs. So I've been incredibly excited to see them start out the day, and Razork definitely striking first with that first block.
I like the way in which Razork has just kind of taken more agency in the game.
Yeah.
Often one of the conversations that existed around him was that he was kind of being led around, being told what to do by more of the experienced players on Fnatic, but it feels like he's found his style, found his groove, and he's just doing what feels good for him. That gank top, a little bit unexpected, I think, from the side of Mad Lions, but it worked out very nicely. Level 4 now, moving into mid, helping Humanoid get that push. And now he's working with Hylissang to get a bit of deep vision, maybe even steal away some camps from Elyoya.
But I think important to remember that Fnatic is the team that needs to be aggressive here in the early game, specifically when the top lane has just gone the way it's done now, because you have a mid lane pushing in, you have a bot lane pushing in, you have a top lane pushing in. For Razork, he gets a lot of potential resources or time to just go into counter jungle. You need to put Elyoya as far back as you can, and specifically when you hit that level 6, when you can put the resistance away, that's where you could look to go aggressive. And even with Fnatic's vision down towards the bot side, they spot the early productivity coming out from Elyoya here.
The way he pushed in, Elyoya had a path through those bot lane bushes, but double wards means that he's not going to be able to sneak in at all. There's also a control ward up towards where the top side of his red buff, meaning that spots him out as he roams through his jungle. And Fnatic have actually a really strong ward line. You can see one at the entry towards the blue buff, one up towards the top lane, one there at the red buff line, and there's really actually only one route that Elyoya can take to get into the river unspotted.
Yeah, there was a lot of takeaways after the series against Excel, but one I still had where Fnatic was advantageous in was the vision control every time. It really set them up for success, and I think you can see it once again. Let's see if the recall comes through so he can spot him before he gets back, then he does.
He gets the knockback down, forgiven on the chase. Not really too much hard CC left on Mad Lions after Elyoya uses that charge forwards, and Razork is able just to walk away. Stops the recall from Elyoya, so it's about a 10-second delay on where Elyoya wanted to go on the map.
Good use of the pillar there from Razork. Actually throws it towards Unforgiven. Recognizes that Kaiser and him could actually lock him down. Chooses not to go for that. But now that he has information on where Elyoya is, he gets to move up towards that top crab, and this will be another one going in Fnatic's back pocket. They've been able to secure every single crab so far this game. Elyoya, though, still a little bit ahead in CS, but Razork, he should be able to get level 5 off of this, and that he will. Now he's looking to invade. He has the push in mid with Humanoid getting level 6. Wunder also level 6.
First, though, so he can react first. Paranoia coming out as Nisqy looks for the fight here. Elyoya trying to put the damage down, picks the buckler for a little bit of a shield. The fear going down onto Razork as well. Slicing Maelstrom just short. The pillar was perfectly placed. Armut wasn't able to get into the fight, but already Mad Lions have got 1 kill out of it. Armut chased off with the Chaos Storm. It's going to be 2 for 1 in favor of Fnatic.
Yeah, that's great stuff from Fnatic there. They come in with a proactive play with Humanoid having the prior in mid. Yes, he's later than the Nocturne, but he's able to join the fight afterwards and actually set Medic at 2 for 1. And now sets up Fnatic greatly for the coming objectives that we're going to be having in just 1 minute, with Herald respawning and, of course, Drake Ori being on the map.
The the response there from Mad was just so swift and a really good... initially, the play looked very promising for them, especially the use of the Paranoia from Nisqy. But again, another great pillar from Razork makes the fight that much more awkward for Armut to really get involved. And you can see here, the idea from Fnatic is solid. They have levels, but again, this Paranoia is able to come around. Armut trying to get in from behind. But then watch this pillar here. Look at how it splits off Armut and it just cuts off the ultimate away so that it doesn't actually get the damage down. Wunder stays just out of range, and now he's full health. Humanoid commits both his summoner spells, and with Elyoya being forced to disengage from the fight, Fnatic actually end up coming out on top.
Yeah, and Armut obviously no flash from that initial play towards the top side meant he couldn't flash past the pillar to get in with that slicing maelstrom and actually lock up Fnatic. 2,000 gold lead now for Fnatic as they look to continue to accelerate this game away from Mad Lions.
Yeah, and just looking at the map now, like when Razork is done with his bot side here, we should just see like slow push coming in mid, slow push coming in through bot, and then he should just start up the Drake for himself. Afterwards, you can rotate your pieces up towards the top side of the map, and then just continue with the pressure that you have here. You just want to accelerate this early game as much as you can from the side of Fnatic.
I think the good news as well, small note for Humanoids, the 100 stacks that you need in order to upgrade one of your skills. Because he gets that early kill, you get further accelerated, and now that he has the upgraded laser, he's going to be able to contest this mid wave that much easier. You can just one-shot the casters, and you should have much more push, which just gives Fnatic ultimately more control. Elyoya, his presence not really being felt on the map just yet compared to Razork. The early vision control from Fnatic has been stellar, but now they're looking for the fight.
Down towards the bottom side, final chapter coming out. There's the root going down as they look for Hylissang. Knocked back with the heroic charge. Elyoya looking for chase with the flash away by Hylissang. Upset down to about half HP. The heal coming out onto Unforgiven means that he's a little bit healthier than he was a second ago. Razork still looking for a little bit more, but the Subjugate's not going to do too much here.
Pretty well played there by the Fnatic bot lane. Very patient. Nisqy has his eyes. Oh, hang on a second. No, it's Humanoid. Going aggressive onto Nisqy there. Does have the level advantage. Going to force him back. Renekton on the way down as well. Looks like he was spotted on that ward by the Herald. Nisqy's just going to be forced to play defensively. He's aware that the threat of a dive is very real.
No.
He's got no spell shield as well because he used it on that Chaos Storm. Wunder blast cones forward. Nisqy, where you gonna go? No flash, Paranoia, and option spell shield comes up, but he's still stunned, and Nisqy will fall underneath the tower. Gravity well used. Who's gonna get it? Who's gonna get it? There we are. Wunder takes it.
And once again, it's these 3 prio lanes you have. It makes the early game so easy for Fnatic to play. Top lane, well, I'm just going to move down after pushing in my wave. Now Wunder can move up towards top and collect what he missed. Going to miss it a little bit of it, but it's still a great play coming through from Fnatic.
Well, again, look at Elyoya. Sorry, I mean, Razork, if you look at him on the minimap, you can see him stealing away the blue buff. He just seems to have Elyoya's number in this game. Use of the early vision, the way in which they're playing around it, the cross map is good. And Elyoya's doing what he can here, trying to punish the Fnatic bot lane. We recognize jungler's top side. Upset and Hylissang, they're not really too afraid of this. They still have a 20 CS lead. And you can see all these wards littered around the bot side of the map. No TP available for Wunder. Haven't hit that 14-minute mark yet either. So I think they're feeling pretty confident in their aggression.
But the issue as well for Mad here is they lost a blue buff, they lost a kill in the mid lane, and they're losing a Rift Herald, and they've only been able to take one plate out of this. Now the TP is going to come down towards the bottom side. Nisqy's going to try and join this. Does have that Paranoia, and it looks like they're going to go for a little bit of a dive. No mana on Upset or Hylissang, as Unforgiven can step forward. Apotheosis up in 1 second. They go in. Nisqy's the one to tank it. The Fear coming out. Unforgiven actually tanked the tower instead. He has to flash away, but they're going to get 2 out of this. Hylissang taken out by Elyoya. Nisqy! Oh! As close as you can be, Nisqy walks out alive.
And a great dive by Mad Lions. You can see Fnatic, they had the reaction to it. Humanoid was around, but the way the play was orchestrated by Mad Lions with Elyoya popping him away, and Nisqy following through with the Paranoia was great. Now top side.
Yeah, where's Armut going to go? He's already used the flash underneath the tower. Razork can tank it. Subjugate makes him pretty darn beefy at the moment, and that is another kill over to Wunder in the top lane. 4-0-1 on the cross.
Yeah, I was going to say, look at this top side right now for Fnatic. They've been involved in every single kill in the early game. Let's have a look back at this dive. The moment Humanoid shows up, it's a very difficult dive to make. So why not just get rid of him? Elyoya yeets him out of the fight, and then they're able to make the dive happen. Unfortunately for Mad, Unforgiven is the one to initially tank the tower, but it ends up working out cleanly as Nisqy gets away with a slither of HP. But the problem for Mad is immediately on the cross map, it is Fnatic that ends up getting something back, and they're able to secure another plate in the top side. They get another kill onto Wunder, but now another fight kicked off in bot lane.
Final chapter going down. Humanoid trying to get away from this one. Does still have the flash. No summoners on the Mad bot lane, mean that they'll just take that summoner away from Humanoid.
And that's one of the times where it's unfortunate that Unforgiven no longer has that flash, of course, when he had to tank up that turret, because there was an opportunity to go there, but with Humanoid stabilizing the play, and once again mid lane prio, Razork starting up the objective, it's still looking good. And the big thing is here for Fnatic that they still have that Rift Herald in their inventory, so it's really on them to make the next play coming up.
Let's see what they decide to do, where they decide to invest in that Rift Herald, see if they can get some plates. 2 minutes still before those fall off. Let's have a look at where we are sitting in terms of total gold. I expect Wunder's going to be quite near the top of this list. He tops it by about 900 gold. You can see Humanoid and Razork following up close behind. Nisqy has very much been shut out of this game, still only at 4,000 gold on that mid laner. You can see he's 30 CS down, as well as Kaiser is caught down towards the bottom side. Can't get away, can't remount. Kaiser will be taken down by Upset. Unforgiven walks away.
I actually believe that Razork caught Kaiser mid air while he was trying to latch onto Unforgiven when he was getting away from the turret, and because he was disrupted, well, couldn't get on towards him afterwards. So great play from Razork there, and Fnatic, they equalize immediately. Once again, remember, Rift Herald's still active, and you could just bust open the mid lane here if you want to.
Looks like that's what he's going to do. Razork sitting towards that mid lane. Armut feels the pain of a Blade of the Ruined King.
It's his spot of scratch.
On Renekton. Yeah, just a tiny scratch on his back. But Razork has been everywhere. We've talked a lot about him. I'm sure you're all like, oh, Razork this, Razork that. I was just here to spam with chat, but actually, he's the guy you have to watch. He's been involved in every single kill from Fnatic so far. He's had total control of the jungle. The Rift Herald gets another charge in as well in the mid lane. And Fnatic very much in control of this game. 5,000 gold their lead at the 13-minute mark as Wunder. He just dives him under the tower. The slicing motion comes out. Armut is able to survive for the moment, but Wunder can look for a redive. Has the flash, forces Armut away.
Yeah, Wunder is just dominating in this matchup now. Once you invest this much gold into the Renekton, there are very few champions that can go toe-to-toe, especially a Kennen so squishy in the early game. No major item completed, but Razork has been absolutely dominant in this early game.
Elyoya still has the flash here, but that subjugate is ticking away on him. Final chance to use as well. Razork caught up in it, but look how tanky he is on the Trundle. Nisqy now going to get chased towards the top side. Viktor Temple coming out as well, and Nisqy, where are you going to go, my man? Humanoid's still on the chase with the Siphon Power movement speed buff. Has to force Nisqy to flash that wall. Now Razork's looking for more as he comes down towards the bottom lane. Unforgiven, able to dodge away, can just dash to a minion, and he does exactly that.
But I love the proactivity, and that's what we expected coming into this series. These are some of the two teams that like to play aggressive in the early game, and Fnatic, they are just the one demolishing, running with it right now. Humanoid, having shoved in that mid lane, can just pay Armut a visit. He might not die, but they get another turret for sure. Armut
caught up in the gravity field, is stunned. Ruthless Predator can follow it up. Double stun is enough. No escape for Armut. He went for the Sork Boots as well for that extra magic damage because he's the only magic damage on his team. And that is biting him. Merc Treads maybe would have been enough to get him out of that CC.
Yes, but Fnatic are running amok in this early game, and they are running around with Mad Lions as well, not allowing them to get a single thing in this game. Close to the 15-minute mark. You just take a look at the gold lead. 22k to the 29. It's looking good for the boys in orange.
I mean, Fnatic continue their early game dominance, similar to what we saw from them at the beginning of this week. And Fnatic looking to make that run to Malmö. Last year, it was an incredible lower bracket run. They started literally from the very first round, and they were able to go 3-2, 3-2, 3-2 into a 3-0 versus Rogue, but they ended up losing to Mad in the finals. And these two organizations don't often meet in the best of fives. Obviously, Mad is a fairly new organization, but historically, there's not a lot of history between the two of them. It wasn't until last year that we really saw Mad versus Fnatic, and it was Mad that actually ended up shutting them down. And of course, what's crazy about back then is the mid laners were swapped. Yep. It was Nisqy that was sitting on Fnatic, and it was Humanoid on the side of Mad. Back then, Humanoid was considered the best mid in the league, and Nisqy, after his return, wanted to prove, especially after the regular season, after a very incredible season from him. And after a bit of a slump from Humanoid, I think both mid laners still feel like that there's a lot for them to prove as they go head-to-head once more.
But just in general, you say that, right? Regular season into playoffs as well. Just diluting that into what we have currently here. Fnatic has just completely ramped up into playoff form, and you can see it in this game as well. Second Rift Herald is going to be spawning in 20 seconds, and before that, Fnatic are just forcing them away from their turrets. Now they're coming in with a wave. Wunder is around. They can't just continue the siege.
Wunder's just going for it. Pops the Dominus, caught out with the steadfast presence. Is able to dash away, but Nisqy's behind him. This is going to be a huge shutdown. Who's going to get it on Mad Lions? It's Nisqy. Gives some gold to the Nocturne. See perhaps if he can do something special. Paranoia going forward as Mad Lions look for more. Apotheosis catches onto 3. Lucian trying to flash away as Upset is able to escape. The chase continues for Nisqy, but now he's not got a Yuumi on his shoulders, and the Keeper's verdict only finds one person guilty. Nisqy tries to turn it back around, but Upset finds the double with a double shot, and that is enough for Fnatic to advance once again.
A flash on the back of Nisqy would have been enough, but a good bubble from Hylissang protects his AD carry, and now Fnatic have their eyes set on another kill as Elyoya drops, the tower drops, and Fnatic walk away the victors.
And that's the thing with Nami. You think Lucian is the only problem when someone gets that E on them? No, there's still an Imperial mandate. You still have the electrocute, and you can see the amount of burst that's able to come out when he's paired up with Humanoid too. And what a great fight for Fnatic to go into the replay once again. It starts out with Razork coming around the corner to force them away for the turret. And even then, it's not just about pushing the wave forward, it's about pushing the enemy back so you can continue the siege. Now, this might be a little bit of an overstep for
Yeah,
Wunder,
it was it. This is what it was. Good steadfast presence there from Elyoya, and Nisqy comes in from the flank. You can see the idea. I think if Wunder was just threatening the collapse, it would have made taking this tower a lot easier. But with his death, it's a window for Man to be able to force a fight. Unfortunately for them, a really great ultimate comes out from Unforgiven, but he ends up dropping because he doesn't have the HP bar to stay in the fight. Humanoid then gets yeeted out, and you still think that it's possible. You can see a good idea there from Nisqy as he tries to overbait, but Upset, he doesn't fall for it. Keeps at arm's length, and then Humanoid comes in and says, hey, you know what? This is like an easy kill for me. I'm a little surprised that Armut chose not to ult Hilly there, but I guess they decided they wanted to disengage from the fight, and Humanoid saw the window, was able to take it.
A smile on Upset's face as he continues his strong run of form through playoffs, sitting at 3-1-0 here on the Lucian. Lucian Nami, not something that too commonly in Europe has a very strong laning phase, but Fnatic have made it work for them in this game. Wunder trying to match up against two down towards the bottom side as Armut and Nisqy push in, but it's going to be second Rift Herald of the game for Fnatic. They got the second Dragon of the game as well with the Cloud and the Hextech, and they have a 9,000 gold lead at the 18-minute mark. I think they're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, now with two solo lane are spotted on the bot side, Razork and Humanoid are just going to move up towards the top side, can potentially just deploy the Rift Herald immediately and start the siege up for themselves. Unforgiven off, well, Shelly goes on a little bit of a walkabout here.
Home, man.
Ultimate drop from Nisqy. The TP is coming in.
And Elyoya's low though, Paranoia on towards the backline. Humanoid there, there's a slicing Maelstrom as a possibility for Armut. They get onto Humanoid, the final chapter's going to lock him up in spot as well. One shut down over to Mad Lions, but Nisqy's going to pay for it with his life. Wunder as well just came in behind them, just walked around them, it seems. No TP burnt by him. As Fnatic continue the chase forward, Apotheosis, more like an antithesis there for Mad Lions. Fnatic push in with Rift Herald, it's going to get another charge, and this should be an inhibitor at least.
A sub 20-minute inhibitor. The question is, will they look to end the game
it's
here?
Still 15 seconds.
They still have 4 members alive. They still have Shelly alive here.
Surely not. Surely not. 68 seconds continuing
right
now.
Armut just auto it once. No dancing Shelly for you, but the second Nexus tower is going to fall in sub 20 minutes. Fnatic are pounding on the Nexus. An absolute shellacking, a demolition. Upset dodging it to the side as much as he can, but the Nexus will fall in 19 minutes and 35 seconds. Fnatic just dismantle Mad Lions.
That's just impression. Fastest game of playoffs coming through here for Fnatic, and against Mad Lions of none others. Fnatic, they found a lead in the early game and they just never let that go. Quite often we see a few teams get a bit too overexcited, start overextending their welcome, but not Fnatic this time around. The only instance was Wunder. What a clean game from them.
I mean, it all started with Razork once again. His gank into the top lane and the way in which they further enabled that, and how he completely mitigated anything that Elyoya tried to do in the early game. It was really just a jungle masterclass once again from Razork as he continues his playoff form.
Fastest game of the split. Sub 20, like, it's the durability patch. Everyone plays like later game scaling. You see Sivir, Zeri, everyone's like 5v5.
What durability patch?
Let's go. 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Fnatic, it was just an absolute domination. Yeah. And now for Mad Lions, it's like, well, what do we do from here? You know, we tried out this Nilah Yuumi lane. It didn't work for us. Do we just go back to traditional AD carries?
I really think that so much of this game was decided by Razork on that Trundle and what he was able to do with it. How... I don't even think that the comp was the problem. I wouldn't sit there and say that like they lost in draft. Mad just kind of got outplayed. Like remember the jungle fight up towards the top side with the Nocturne ultimate, the Armut losing his flash. There are a lot of question marks for Mad to go back and address. I don't think they're going to take too much away from this game. But the only thing you have to take away is that Fnatic look damn good.
Yeah, they definitely do. Mad Lions taking away an L, whereas Fnatic take away a W. We're going to be right back after this short break. Let's see if Mad Lions can even out the score.
Mad Irons without the L.
It's like just a helium atom around.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Has someone seen Kennen?